Welcome back. We got another install for you. This time on a Jeep Gladiator JT, we're installing this solid new front bumper. This thing's a powder-coated steel design. It's got tow hooks, it's got additional LED fog lights, it's got space for a winch, it's got high clearance, a good functional solid design. Now it does take a moment to install it. We have to remove the OEM front bumper, we have to install a new one, and we have to wire up the new LED fog lights. Now it does take a moment, so let's get started. We start by removing the OEM protective trim between the OEM bumper and the Jeep body. There are several clips on this plastic sidewall that need to be removed, as well as these two other clips that are facing up. Grab some tools and carefully remove all the clips holding this protective trim in place. Once you've got all the clips sorted, the OEM protective trim should easily slide on out. Now we need to head under the Jeep to remove two bolts from this OEM underguard piece. Grab the right tool with the right attachment. Go ahead and remove the two bolts. The underguard should now be loose. There are just 8 bolts now behind each side of the OEM bumper that need to be removed to get this thing off completely. That's 2 outer bolts and 2 inner bolts on each side of the Jeep. Carefully remove the bolts and be sure to take your time here, as the front bumper will be hanging loosely once they are all removed. Power tools will make quick work of the outer bolts. Before we remove the OEM front bumper, the connection for the fog lights will need to be unclipped and detached. Now grab a mate and take your time to carefully remove the OEM front bumper. You'll notice that the front bumper will come off as one piece with the plastic underguard as well. And these are the mounting points for the side clips that we removed earlier. Before we install the new bumper, it's a good time to ready your Jeep for the winch, if you plan to install one. These 2 brackets will serve as the mounting points for the included accessory plate. Simply secure the plate to these 2 brackets for a strong mounting position for the winch. Moving on to the next part, we need to detach the OEM fog lights wiring harness. This can be a delicate process with a number of clipping points to be detached to get the entire harness off. We'll be using these connectors on the harness to plug directly into the new fog lights. And the red wire with the prepared connector will serve as a DRL function when installed later. The grey clip will plug back into its original connection to power your new front bumper. The next part is to prepare these 4 mounting points on each side of the front bumper. You'll need these included plastic discs to keep all of the screws in place. First, position the screw in place from the back, and then simply slide each plastic disc over the top of each screw. Make sure they are completely flush with the bumper, and you'll have a firm hold on each of the bolts, which is crucial for the next part. Grab a mate, it's time to carefully install the new front bumper. Align the prepared bolts with each of the new bumper brackets on the Jeep body. Then take your time to secure each side. You can start by manually tightening down the bolts, but at some point you'll need to use tools to thoroughly tighten them all down. We can now grab our OEM fog light harness and connect it to both of the new fog lights. And make sure the main grey clip is plugged back into its original connection. The first part of the new fog lights is now hooked up, and we have some loose wiring here that we'll be cleaning up later. Now for the DRL function on the fog lights. We need to grab the included red wire extension. It has 3 connections on it. 2 prepared connectors and 1 bare one. We're going to take the prepared connectors and plug them into the red wire on both fog lights. With those connections hooked up, now's a good time to clean up the loose wiring under the bumper with a couple of well-placed zip ties. For the next part, a tape measurer comes in real handy. Run it down through the engine where we can use some electrical tape to bind the red extension wire to it. Then it becomes easy as to pull the red extension wire up and through to the top of the engine area. Gently pull the rest of the wire through so we can continue to run it to the fuse box. Tuck it underneath these plastic brackets and continue running it up. At the fuse box, find an appropriate accessory power source to tap into. You might need to strip the wire further with a tool and expose more metal. We do include a wire tapper to help you install it. Once this last connection is sorted, we can clean up our leftover wires with some zip ties and drop the hood, because we are done. Your Jeep Gladiator JT is now equipped with a beefy new front bumper that'll ride the trails with you over many adventures, lighting your way and delivering solid performance for a lifetime of off-road adventure. And that wraps it up. Congratulations, you've just got a new front bumper on your Jeep Gladiator JT. Hopefully it's going to be on there for life and it's going to support you on all your trails. Now it does take a moment to get this thing on. It's going to take you about an hour and a half. Now that includes taking off the OEM front bumper, installing a new one, and rewiring the LED fog lights. So hopefully you have a good time, learn a lot from it, take your time. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.